a good welcome, of course, to another Zero Waste Leeds Lunchtime live event. These are the events where we talk to the people in Leeds who are doing all they can to make workplaces and businesses as sustainable as possible. We're talking zero waste, we're talking zero carbon. I'm Peg Alexander, a Leeds-based journalist and presenter and general bod about town. Basically, someone who talks to other people for a living and someone who cares deeply about the climate challenge and the need to reduce waste. Now, today we are getting technological. Basically, we're going to be thinking about what can happen with our old computers and our old devices. We've got Ben McKenna from Solidarity and Digital Access West Yorkshire. Hi, Ben.
Hi there. How you doing?
Hiya. Brilliant. You're going to talk to us today about Leeds Tech Angels, which is a project to equip Leeds' digitally excluded children and young people with the technology they need to catch up on their schoolwork and achieve their full potential, and how we, and especially businesses, can all help to make this happen. We've also got Rob Greenland joining us today. Rob, you are actually in person today rather than just the person who's writing comments.
Yeah, I'm often more comfortable sat behind the scenes writing up, but yeah, no, it's nice to be here as well. So yeah, and I'm keen because I mean we had a chat with Jack earlier in the summer about Digital Access West Yorkshire, so I was keen to be part of this one because it's a nice little kind of follow on from that, really.
Well, I have to say, it's actually really nice to see your face on the call. Really nice. And also, we're going to talk about a new initiative that Zero Waste Leeds have done, because Zero Waste Leeds, of course, taking over the world, not content with sorting out the unbelievably successful school uniform exchange that started around the time of the new school year, not content with all the other work you've done on many zero waste ideas, the fashion work you're doing at the moment about zero waste fashion. You're cornering Christmas as well, basically, as well. You're going to turn us into a zero waste Christmas, so we're going to have a chat about that a bit later on, which is really good, because we're going to kill two birds with one stone with that, which is zero waste and being tight in Yorkshire and not giving needless pointless Christmas presents, basically, because most of us don't want to give needless pointless Christmas presents. Let's get back to the topic in hand. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, I did introduce you from two organisations, Solidarity and Digital Access West Yorkshire, and also mention this thing, Leeds Tech Angels. So kind of just sum up, tell us about all these different organisations who are doing all this amazing stuff to make sure that we don't throw out computers that could actually be helping people.
Okay, yeah, so some context. We founded Solidarity, or I founded Solidarity about 3 years ago. And in that time, we've been working on new and innovative ways to source technology and to wipe it safely and get it out to people that need it. So Solidarity kind of represents 3 years of our learning. We had a very specific client group, which is asylum seekers and refugees in Yorkshire. So we were dealing quite a lot with people who are, in terms of income, who are really, really challenged. Okay, so you know, like we're talking about zero waste and circular economy and stuff. It's making that pound go further, and that's the same sort of thing. Now, when lockdown hit, the guys from Digital Access West Yorkshire, or Dowie for tongue twisting's sake, got in touch and said, look, we really want to work out how we can get these laptops to kids that are excluded from, digitally excluded from doing their schoolwork.
Do we have any idea of how many people and how many kids that would be, sort of Leeds, West Yorkshire, who found themselves in that position?
I mean, it's an interesting one. I've heard loads of different figures in terms of policy, but I think that the main one is that, even in a fairly affluent area, we're looking at maybe half of kids that don't have a laptop to call their own, to do their schoolwork on, or to share with brothers and sisters. Quite possibly. I mean, I think the thing that you see is that if we did have a family laptop, then that family laptop didn't recommission to work on mum or dad's, who they have to work at home. So essentially what we're seeing is that people's tech provision is inadequate, and that, for the best will in the world, that's for a million different reasons. No one thought they would need it, or let's be honest, it's not exactly been a stellar last decade in terms of economic growth. So you can feel that a lot of people have been pinched there a little bit, and machines do break down. So, there are a number of ways that you could have it. But I mean, just judging by anecdotal evidence and the stuff that I've seen with my own daughter, I mean, I'm up in Baildon, which is just over the border in Bradford, but it's one of the most
posh.
Yeah, posh. It's posh Bradford. Yeah, to be fair.
I mean, both of us worked in Bradford a lot. We know, Baildon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very nice.
Quite. You would think that would be the best thing, but she says around half of her friends don't have the access that they need, or stuff like they're doing their homework at 10 o'clock at night because that's when their mum and dad are off the machines and they're able to do it and that kind of stuff. So, I think it's really strange. It seems to have hit everyone really badly, and we don't know about figures because actually figures are, I think there's a lot of asking difficult questions there. You know what I mean? People don't like to ask big and difficult questions, but I think what we've seen, and not to be too critical about the government, but when they pledged like 25, 30 laptops to all of the schools, and then it got to the point of providing them, they said, well, you can have free, so we're seeing there that, it's one of these things that I don't think there is a coherent plan for it. I don't think there is a way that, I don't think there's a value of technology there, but I think we all value technology on an individual basis. And I think we all know how important these things are, whether it's, I mean, we deal with people at Solidaritech who might have crossed the Sahara and the Mediterranean with a GPS smartphone, but also when they arrive in this country, that smartphone's taken away from them, for instance. So, they start from zero. But technology is important for a number of reasons. It's about finding about where you live, what things are like, how to get access to services. There's a whole digital by default agenda by the government. So, it's become a really integral part of our lives. But we're also seeing people being excluded from taking part in, what is basic democracy or basic, just life and living your life here.
Just applying for your benefits or whatever.
Exactly, I
bumped into a friend at the start of lockdown. She didn't have broadband. She didn't have a smartphone. She was saying because she always relied on the libraries. Right? She said she couldn't even apply. She lost the job. And she couldn't apply for benefits.
No. And it's just exclusion, plain and simple. There's no other way to do that. And, we can either get very angry about it, which I think a lot of people are, or we can do something to help it, which I think helps a lot of people deal with that anger, So I think what we're trying to do is utilize all of those untapped resources. Business does have extra spare kit in places, but not only the businesses, the people in the businesses. We've all, we look at our bookshelves now and we can point to a laptop or a tablet or something on there that's a digital device that we're scared to wipe. So really, Tech Angels is there to help people get that stuff safely wiped so they can be sure of their own details are safe. Get that to us. We do a double wipe, so we wipe it ourselves, all to US Department of Defense standards, and then we reinstall a new operating system and get that out to someone that needs it.
All right, very good.
So that's the prospect.
So that's the Tech Angels model as well. So a similar kind of thing as you've been doing with Solidaritech and Digital Access West Yorkshire, but you've got almost like specific groups of people who you're keen make sure they benefit from the tech that you manage to take and reuse. Is that right?
Totally, yeah. And I mean, I think the people are asking is, why is Tech Angels different from Digital Access West Yorkshire or Solidaritech? So Solidaritech is specifically for asylum seekers and refugees, and we're still going to help those people in with this cohort. Digital Access West Yorkshire is very participatory, community-led, open. You've had Jack on here from talking about it before. Yeah. But Tech Angels is targeted specifically to business, or the people that in that business in Leeds, to help them invest. So angel investors, that's where it comes from, to help them invest in the future of Leeds. So that the beneficiaries for the Tech Angels project, or at least at the start, are people who've been referred to us by community hubs or involved in Leeds Community Foundation's Healthy Holidays programme. Those specific places have identified people to help. So we're targeted specifically, or at least in the first tranche, which I think is 200 machines, specifically to help people in areas like Middleton, Beeston, Holbeck, Seacroft, Scarcroft. We could probably all list the most deprived neighbourhoods in Leeds. And from my point of view, I grew up single parent family, council estate in a city. The only thing that made me that helped me get to where I am today was having an aptitude and access to technology. My mum worked 2 jobs to give me access to machines so I could learn how to use them. And every job that I've had since then has been predicated pretty much on my ability with technology in one way or the other. So if it can make that difference to me, I'm passing on that difference to kids who, you know, whose families for one reason or another and no fault of their own can't afford access to technology. And I think that's the thing. It's a very specific program, and that's something we're quite keen on.
That's really good. And I think what's interesting, and it's interesting because our school uniform project is working with some of those same networks. Like, and I think one thing that's good here is that you're focusing on what you're good at, aren't you? You know, you understand the tech side of things. You know how to clean the machines, you know, and to get them out to people. You're partnering up with Leeds Community Foundation, and then the kind of healthy holiday scheme, and their expertise is supporting people directly, isn't it? You know, and they've been, as you said, they've done it with food, you know, particularly over kind of the summer holidays. We came in a bit with the school uniform exchange because again, some of those same families need support there, and this is almost like another element of, you know, if we want children to succeed as we definitely want them to, this is another part to it, isn't it, to have that kind of access to.
Absolutely. I mean, we're really aware where we come on, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's food, there's shelter, there's clothes, you know, all of those sort of things. Then there's technology. We're not saying that technology is the most important thing, but
you know, I mean, I've seen the Maslow's with actually the new one at the bottom, which is Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And actually, you see, you can say that, but there's part of me thinks, oh, can you compare it to food and shelter and warmth? I don't know. But actually, if you haven't got access to tech these days,
it feels like
it.
Yeah, I mean, we call it digital exclusion, but actually in a lot of ways it's actual exclusion, you know, because there's so much crossover now. I mean, you know, the internet's been with us for what, 20, 25 years at tops, but it's only really been big and prevalent in the last 10, where smartphones were invented and apps and all of those kind of things that work their way into our lives. But by having a digital by default agenda, the government has almost kind of made that a thing, and that's, you know, that's great. It's great that we can deliver services cheaper, better, and quicker, and all of those things are really, really good. But if people are excluded from taking part in those things, then it's a problem of exclusion. You know, it's like disenfranchisement. You know, if people, you know, don't or won't or can't vote, then obviously democracy is skewed. And if you know, people can't, won't, or don't participate in, you know, digitally in you know, technology in the way the world works, they're excluded from that too, you know. And it shouldn't be the fact that they don't have a device, you know. We don't care what they do with those devices. They can sit there on YouTube watching whatever they want all day.
Leeds by example, lunchtime live conversations.
Exactly.
Lots of them on the channel.
So Ben, right, I've got an old, very, very old, to be honest, it doesn't even start, but you know,
right.
Let's say I've got an old working.
He doesn't want it.
Yeah, doesn't want that one. Let's say, because it's actually got a big hole in it, but we'll move on from that. Let's say I've got one that actually does work, I just don't use it.
Yeah.
Or I'm a business. What do you want from us? What can we do to help?
Okay, I mean, I think first and foremost, we do need newish and working machines. So if a machine's, you know, we could fix it maybe at Solidaritech, but this appeal is specifically for machines that are working. We want to get them in, get them wiped, and get them out. So that's really important for us. So, you know, one of the reasons we're targeting business machines is that they will be that bit newer, although some of the tech that we've dealt with in the past, you would be amazed. So it would be great if it's working. You know, that's a huge help. It would be great if it's safe. It'd be great if it was between, you know, kind of a few and maybe 6 or 7 years old. I mean, there's a lot of kind of technical stuff about it being 32-bit or 64-bit, but anything within the last 5 years is going to be a pretty good machine. So, you know, when we get it from you guys, we're going to have to wipe it and make sure it's working safely. You know, if there are sparks coming out the back.
Just make me ask on that. If somebody can't wipe it themselves, do you give a guarantee that if somebody, especially for a business or whatever, hands over gear to you,
absolutely,
you're going to wipe it? You're not going to look at what's on there. Have you got
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we never ask for usernames or passwords. We don't need access to your machine. And really, at the very least, we want people to do a factory reset on the machine. And there are videos on the Tech Angels website, and there are step-by-step links to how you do that, whether it's Windows 7, 8, 10, all of those kind of things, or Apple. So the main thing is we don't want to be passing out, we don't want to be taking possession of your data, and we don't want to be passing it out to other people. So generally speaking, you know, data's a liability for us, and it's also a liability for someone we donate that out to. So that's the last thing we want to do. So generally speaking, if you've got IT provision inside your business, we want to get it at least kind of cursory wiped by you guys. It doesn't have to be a full wipe, but you know, if there's someone who can work computers in your office, then we want them to at least kind of do a factory reset, or preferably do like a kind of a wipe for us. And that's really, really easy. If you don't need to go forward and you know, kind of reinstall stuff, that's where it gets fiddly. So the wipe stuff is really, really important. We don't want people to be donating stuff, but that's got data on it if we can help it at all. And we will help people get stuff wiped off. Also, first steps first, when we get a machine, we wipe it. And in wiping it, we then test that it's all working okay. You know, wiping might take a good, hard, long 7-pass US Department of Defense wipe can maybe take sort of 8 or 9 hours. So in that time, we're going to assess whether that machine is working okay, whether, you know, the battery's getting too hot, whether it's, you know, sometimes you get a bad battery, it expands and all of that stuff. So we'll do that cursory look at it at that point, check that the power socket isn't wriggling and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, we really need machines to not have data on them. And because you don't want to be sending your data there. So in a lot of ways, we'll work with whoever needs it to get that all sorted out. It is, there are a million different permutations, but we'll help you find the best way to do it, is the way that we're trying to turn it, I guess.
And I'm assuming people can get in touch with you beforehand to say, this is what I've got.
Totally.
Are you interested in this? And can you point me to that information about how I wipe it, and then you can do your bit as well.
Absolutely, yeah. The website's live. There will be more on it as people ask questions, because you know, everything is developed in the open. We're being totally transparent about everything. We've got some really good pledges of help from drop-off points. So Unity Business Centre in Chapeltown are one people that are helping us. Helping Hands over in Armley, Gipton Fire Station, fire station over in Leeds. So you know, people can donate anywhere they want. It's kind of easy, you know. Even if they're out of town in a suburb somewhere, they can drive into their nearest one and put it in there. Just wrap it up in a black bag and give us your donation reference, because there's a donation on there. No identifying marks or anything need to be on there. We don't need a username or password. We just want everything bagged up together and securely there. We'll then take those back to a central place, get them wiped, get them checked, and get them out to people in those places. One of the great things, and I think it's going to be useful for this, is that Leeds City Council have offered the assistance of their electric van fleet to help ferry stuff around. So yeah, even moving around, we've got like a kind of zero carbon approach to it and stuff, which certainly offsets some of my carbon.
That was another of our Leeds by example conversations. We talked about electric vehicles with the council. So it's all, I mean, in a sense, that's part of the point of this series of conversations about some of those kind of, you know, those common kind of themes in terms of how we can, you know, because I suppose that is the other side to this, and why we like this as a project. It's got a really good kind of social impact, but clearly, you know, and the stuff you've done with Solidaritech, you know, and Digital Access West Yorkshire as well, there's a really good environmental impact of things not getting thrown away, extending the life of electronics, you know, which, you know, well, we know it from Black Friday, don't we? It's all, you know, they want us to be buying new things, and I think you're giving kind of extra life to.
So you can go and pick them up in the little electric vehicles then, if somebody, you know, a firm watching or whatever is saying we've got a load of gear, you can actually go and get them.
Well, we would need them got to the donation points, and then the electric vans would take them from donation points to our sort of central wiping area, a secret HQ. So that's one thing we don't want to be too transparent about, because we need probably best to say there's not 200 laptops sat somewhere.
No, good. So I'm conscious of your time, because I think you've got another call straight after this to promote the scheme as well. But We'll put all the information below this this video, and we'll stick stuff on all our social media and things. But just in a kind of summary, so if there's a business in Leeds that might be interested, tell us. So just give us the quick reminder again about how to find out more.
Okay, well, you can go to techangels.net, or you can follow us on Twitter at techangels_, I think it is. You guys will put the links in there.
It is, yeah.
Essentially, we want to open up a conversation about how you guys can best do it. In terms of business, every business is really, really different, and every business has a different level of provision. So we're happy to talk to you about that. I mean, the main, first and foremost, we have to satisfy your data guidelines. So if something says that nothing can leave your building without being wiped, we're going to have to help you wipe it there and then get it donated. I mean, we're just interested in the end product really here. That's the main thing for us. But yeah, if you go to the website, there's loads of guidance, loads of help. If it's not clear enough, tell us. If you have a clearer, better, simpler way of doing it for people, we want to hear that as well, obviously. So in every way that we can get these machines donated, we will. We've got a media release going out later on this week, so I think you'll probably hear from us in papers and maybe probably news. But yeah, we want to start the conversation. We want to get kids helped. I mean, we are coming up to probably what's looking at the sort of third lockdown, tier 3, tier 2. It's all an absolute mess. But one thing's for sure, we know that kids are being stuck at home without access to the technology to do their schoolwork. So we're looking to bridge that gap. Yeah,
excellent, good. And that's reminded me of one other thing that you mentioned before we went on the call. I think you've got something around data as well, getting people online in terms of the data. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a way, or a number of ways, to get those kids access to data in the long term, so they can actually access the connectivity as well as access the machine that they need. So we'll provide them with 3 months free data and a dongle and all of that kind of stuff, so they can literally catch up if they're digitally excluded, to the point of not having a broadband connection, which is sadly a fact. I mean, especially more prevalent in local authority housing and that kind of stuff. I think it goes up from I think it's 10% to 50% or something like that don't have actual broadband connections in house. But yeah, there's a need there, and so we sort of almost got a cradle to grave solution for this.
Yeah, good, very good.
Amazing stuff, Ben. I know you've got to dash off, haven't you? But
I do, yeah.
You put the links in, Rob. You'll put the links as well.
Yeah, I'll stick it all on the video.
Thanks so much for joining us, Ben. And
no problem at all.
Amazing work. Please.
Just trying to help people, and thank you for helping us to help people.
Oh, God, no,
well, team game.
Thank you. Good luck.